But this is a absolutely dysfunctional version of a democracy. There's a real question of whether it really should even be called a fully functioning democracy.
Really?
I'm not the only one to say this. 20 years ago, Jeffrey Simpson wrote that book, The Friendly Dictatorship. And he was only half joking. I mean, we have a system in which the powers of the prime minister vastly exceed that of any other parliamentary democracy, with the fewest constraints upon it. When you really get down into the weeds, as I say, not just about what happens on election day, as problematic as that is, but the lack of accountability every day in between. The fact that once you're elected, there's very little that the parliament can actually do to hold you to account, especially if you have a majority. It's a little better in minority governments. My basic thesis of any election is I don't care who wins, I just want it to be a minority. Because when it's a majority, all hope of holding them to account just vanishes out the window. Our system of party discipline is so rigid, our institutional mechanisms are so weak that you can basically get away with just about anything. I mean, the prime minister previous attempted to interfere in a criminal proceeding. You know, that's what Nixon went up the river for.
I think there's been occasions where American presidents have said to prime ministers, I wish I had the power you had.
Well, and it used to be said, and in a classical parliamentary system this would be true, it used to be said you could never have a Watergate here, because the minute any prime minister did what Nixon had done, they'd be out. They'd lose their majority in the House. They'd be voted no confidence. Well, it turns out to be completely the inverse of the truth. You could get away with stuff as a prime minister of Canada you could never get away with, at least until Trump, as a president of the United States.